Hello and welcome to today's demonstration of Infor Cloud Suite Industrial. My name is Paul Clifford and I am a solution consultant, particularly specializing in our Cloud Suite Industrial product. So what we're going to go over today is the procure to pay business process, and that encompasses everything from your purchasing to receiving the product, and then we're going to take a look at vouchering, posting the vouchers so that we know we have accounts payable, and then ultimately end up paying our vendor and hitting the GL. So before we start diving into, the different scenarios and different processes within this, let's just go over some of the typical scenarios you see in daily life. So procurement's important to manufacturers and for a matter of fact, just a lot of business in general, because you get the raw products or end products you need to eventually make that end product and sell to your end customer. So some of the situations that we'll see often is you based on your demand and supply plan, you have blanket POs that'll go out to vendors to procure the product. Another situation will be you have a one-to-one ratio from customer order to purchase order. So say maybe you're a distributor and you get a customer or sales order. You don't actually manufacture that product. So you'll end up going ahead and procuring it. So within our system, you can go ahead and designate which products you want to have that one-to-one ratio so that when you get those orders, a purchase order is automatically sent out to your vendor. And then based on whether or not you want to have a drop shipment to your end customer, that's also something you can do. We also do purchase requisition all the way to the payment process. So we do have HCM included in our product. So you can put purchase requisitions in. So an instance of that would be, an employee wants to go ahead and buy 100 pens for the office. They go ahead and put in a requisition through our Mingle app. It'll then get sent to like their supervisor, get approved, then that becomes a PO that goes to a vendor. So a couple different ways you can use our procurement. But for today's purposes, we're just going to keep it real simple and manually create a PO for a product that we just end up selling to our customers. So we don't use it in manufacturing. It's just it's an end product. All right, so let's actually talk about that product. The product that we're going to be dealing with today is called the CP 10,000, and it is a seat for a bicycle. Now, there is required information when you create all these items that'll go ahead and stem, all the different costing methods and the ways it's going to be processed within the system. So most importantly, you got to designate what the source is. Is this going to be a product that's purchased, manufactured, transferred, so on and so forth? So for this instance, this product can only be purchased from a vendor. It's not something we manufacture. You got your product code, it ties to your accounting, and type, material in this instance, so that we can go ahead and sell it as an end good. So for costing methods, there are a couple different ones out there, and you can use standard or actual for your cost type. And then for cost method, based on what your company currently uses or feels that's best moving forward in the future, we have standard, average, FIFO, and LIFO. But if you want to do a custom formula to do your own costing method, that's something you can put in there as well. Now, for the quantities, it's going to tell you what's available on hand. And more importantly than just knowing what's on hand, you probably want to know where in your organization those products are. So if you're a multi-site location, a multi-site corporation, you'll know where it is. In this case, it looks like most of our inventory is at one warehouse, the main warehouse, but there are other warehouses that it could be landed at. It'll tell you your safety stock as well as allocated to production if it's a manufactured product. So let's go ahead and take a look at the sales for this particular year. And based on our POs and how much we've sold to customers, we can tell that we've bought 123 different CP 10,000s, and then we've sold 94 for a total of roughly $7,000. So because everything's all in one system, through the POs to the customer orders, sales orders, and then through the payments, it's going to track all that information so you can tell if this is, a profitable product or not. And then you can build reports based on, the ROI and the gross margin to see if this is something you want to continue in the future. And then you can get a brief overview of what this product's all about. So in the case, maybe you're a new sales rep or maybe you're a new buyer, you get an idea of what you're going to procure, and you can also put a picture to show them what it looks like. All right, so now we've got a quick tutorial on just some of the basic information that you need for an item. And so let's go ahead and dive into the pricing. So pricing is going to be very important, and it's also something that's very cumbersome for a lot of companies out there. Vendor contracts, for instance. And before a lot of companies come over to Infor, they'll be using maybe a spreadsheet with all their vendors, and they kind of just look based on price to see which ones are best. But that's not necessarily the case here. We use kind of a methodology to it. So we do have a vendor portal where you can, do a request for quote, and then the vendor will go ahead and put in their best prices based on quantity breaks that you've designated. So in this instance, we're looking at the vendor contracts, and we've ranked the vendors here, Bicycle Parts Company, as the #1 vendor of choice. And then we have our vendor here, Bicycle Supplies, which is our vendor of choice #2. So kind of digging into why this is our #1 choice, we can take a look at the prices. So the unit price is designated here at $302 when you buy a quantity of 1. But if you buy 50, we're going to get a discount of, just roughly about, 14 cents. So there is a, economies of scale here, and you can do your contracts differently, whether it be a break quantity, just to a specific price, or maybe you want a specific percentage discount. So that's just taking a look there. We'll jump out of the form here. Now, aren't you interested in seeing what we're charging our customers for that particular product? And one way we can do that is clicking on this pricing button here, and now we can see exactly what we're charging them on the other end. So it looks like we have 2 prices in here for the CP 10,000, and this looks to be a little bit of an older price. So let's see if we can find a newer one. Aha, so this one's from this year. It's about 9 months old. And just quickly note, let's look at unit price #1. It looks like it went up $1.10 this year. So effective February 4th, 2017, this product went up about $1.10 to $11. Now we could have, quantity breaks or a percentage discount based on how much they buy, but it looks like this is pretty standard, straightforward. We only have that one price of $11. Now that can all change. You can actually have specific deals with customers if they're buying this product over and over again to give them a quantity break discount. And kind of intuitively, we house that information here at the item level, and you can put it right in this customer contracts. So kind of taking a look at different scenarios here. We have 2 different customers here, Coordinated Bikes and Price Brothers Department, that have contracts with us. And let's take a look at their prices. All right. So notice there's a break quantity, 1, 25, and 50. And for every time they get that quantity break, they get $1, a $2, or $3 discount. Now remember, when we were looking at the pricing, it was $11 effective February 4th of 2017. So now, because we get that $1 discount, it's going to be $10 for them. So this customer does a lot of business with us. So we've put their customer contract in there, and based on how much they buy, it's going to go ahead and give them that discount. So this makes it easier for your people that are, selling the product. And it's also easier for your people that, such as an accounts receivable analyst, that doesn't have to go and automatic, input this information. It's automatically going to be brought throughout. And we'll actually take a look at that later in the demonstration. Okay, so we've established that we're going to sell the seat pad, and we kind of took a look at the pricing. Last thing, which is very important, is vendor management. So you're going to have your terms with your vendors, and right here you have all their basic information about where they're at, where they're from. You'll have your payment terms here. So it looks like you got a net 21030, and if you pay within 10 days, you get a 2% discount. You have some information about payment hold. So in case there's been any kind of delinquencies, or maybe they're not performing to your standards, you can put them on a payment hold and determine what the reason is. And I think this is a very valuable tool for vendor management, is on-time performance. So in my past experience in working with manufacturers and working with a distribution company, on-time performance was a huge KPI. So in our case, we wanted our vendors to go ahead and service at a level of 96% or better. And whether or not they were at that number would determine how much business they would get. So using this kind of, we'll call it speedometer, this will tell you exactly how they're doing in terms of their on-time performance. And based on the last 12 months, they're only delivering their products to us about 54% of the time. So in my mind, as someone who's in the buying department, I would think, long and hard about if this is the right vendor of choice, because they are not performing up to the standards of our corporation. Okay. So now that we've kind of established, the item detail, and we've taken a look at the vendors, let's actually start getting into the procurement process. And we're going to follow the flow here and go to our purchasing. So now we're going into our purchasing order form, and we're going to create a new purchase order. The vendor we're going to use is that bicycle parts company, based on that rank we were looking at. They are the typical vendor we want to use. If you want to have a specific PO number, you feel free to put that in, but if you click save, it'll give you one automatically. So let's just remember for later in the presentation, DP 353. That is the number of our PO. So right now it's in plan status. We haven't sent it out because we haven't added our line items yet. Okay. The line item we're going to add is that CP 10,000, which is that seat pad. Okay, so the first order quantity that we're going to put in is 1. And let's take a look at the item cost, 302. And just to validate that the vendor contracts are automatic and they're working within the system, I'm going to show you just by typing in a different quantity. Notice how it's changed. So don't worry about using Excel spreadsheets to go ahead and update the pricing information, or worry about the vendor doing that for you. You can put this in and it's going to track it automatically for you. So let's go ahead and tell them that we want to buy 3 of these seats. And what we can do here is click save. And we're going to put the status to order, because we want to tell the vendor that we want these as soon as possible. Now, I forgot to mention on the vendor level and also on the item level, you can put in the lead time for how long it typically takes to purchase this item. So in that case, you can have 3, 5, 7, 2 weeks. It can be however long, and then the system will automatically calculate that lead time for you based on when you put in the PO. And just to walk you through a little bit of the functionality of the purchase order, all the information from your vendor is going to be automatically put in there, such as the address, general information, the contacts who you're normally dealing with, and the amount. So notice the amounts here, most of them are blanked out. These are primarily the landed costs. So typically when you're receiving or getting the voucher, you'd want to put in the landed cost then, and that's something we can take a look at, or even click the landed cost button, and this is where you go ahead and allocate those specific costs. Okay, so we do have this purchase order in our ordered status, which is exactly what we want. So the next step that we need to do is actually receive the product. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, I actually forgot the number. It's DP353. So you can automatically filter to the one you're looking at, or you can use a drop down, which will have all of the outstanding purchase orders that are there. I just find it's easier to go ahead and filter for the one you're looking for. Great. Notice the information for the PO is there. We're going to take a look at the receive quantity, reject quantity. So in case you're at the receiving dock and you're looking at the products and one of them is faulty, you could put that information in here, and then that'll stem the rejection and also crediting to your vendor to either A, send out another one, or B, go ahead and give you credit so that you don't have to pay for it. But for the case of our story, our customer, or our vendor, I should say, is going to go ahead and send us 3 quality products. Kind of talking to the landed costs again. Based on this purchase order, we can put in the freight costs, duty, brokerage, insurance, and local freight. We do have integrations with UPS and FedEx. So in that case, you can go ahead and get the advanced shipper notice information, and a lot of times the information will automatically be fed into there. All right, let's go ahead and receive this product. Notice that the transaction went through, and it gives us the receiver number of 240 and told us that the location that we received it at was PUR1, Purchasing 1. Okay. So we went from creating our purchase order, now we just received it at our Purchasing 1 receiving dock at our main warehouse, and now we're ready to go to the vouchering. All right, so what we're going to do is filter specifically for our vendor that we were working with, vendor number 1. We're going to take a look at specifically what PO we want to go ahead and put on the specific voucher. Now there are 4 different selections you can pick here, and let's talk about this for a second. So this vendor is got multi-sites as well. So they have locations in Canada, US, and a couple others that I don't necessarily know, but I can actually figure it out. Europe, based on the currency, the British pound, and US dollar. So because the product that we bought was from their US location, we're going to need to look at the USD currency, because otherwise the PO selection won't go ahead and show up. So just to illustrate that, notice how when we're under the Canadian dollar, the PO selection, nothing pops up. But when we go to our US dollar and take a look at the PO selections, you have a lot more. These are all those outstanding POs. So there we have our CP 10,000 product. We selected it. and we have that um, unit cost of $3.02, and we've ordered three, so we know that for this particular voucher, we need to pay $9.06, and that totals right there for you. Another way you can go ahead and do it for creating a voucher is selecting based on creating from your PO. So in this case, we'll go ahead and select matching PO. And just to illustrate some of the kind of the fail-proof safety tricks we have here, I'm going to go ahead and try to create this voucher or generate it per se. And it's going to give me an error message saying that there's a difference of $9.06. So it actually won't allow me to post that voucher unless it matches what we've gone ahead and allocated to. So let's go ahead and put in the material cost of $9.06. We didn't put any freight or tax information just to keep it simple. And now let's go ahead and try generate it. Generate will be performed. Great. And we're looking at voucher number 505. So the next process what we're going to do here is we can do voucher adjustments in case we need to go ahead and change the landed cost, or maybe there's a miscellaneous cost, and then post the voucher so that we know how when to pay it. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to our vouchers and adjustments, select our vendor, and all the different vouchers that are outstanding are going to be out there that haven't been posted. And the one we were looking at is right here for $9.06. And notice that it is attached to that PO. So all the information is seamlessly transferring over so you can track it. So we do have that discount of 2%, and that's if we pay in 10 days. So from an accounts payable perspective, you kind of have a mindset in your mind, well, if I pay in less than 10 days, I'm going to get an 18-cent discount, which in this case isn't much, but if you're talking about thousands and millions of dollars, that's gonna really add up. Okay, so we need to go ahead and we're not going to adjust any of the costs here. There aren't any discounts or landed costs we want to go ahead and change. So we'll go ahead and do that. And notice since we went from the AP vouchers and adjustments page specifically for this voucher number 505, click the button. All the information is going to be seamlessly transferred over. We'll click process. It's going to tell us that the voucher is going to be printed. And in this case, only one voucher is going to be printed because it has the right filters. But if we took the filters such as 505 out, every single voucher that's still outstanding needs to be processed, or posted, I should say, would go ahead and be selected. And now let's go ahead and commit that. Great, one AP transaction was posted. So getting back to our process overview, we just took a look at the voucher adjustments and went ahead and posted the voucher. So now we're getting to the end of the demonstration, and all we need to do is go ahead and pay the voucher. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's close out of a couple tabs here to clean it up. Okay. All right, the vendor we're going to be working with is number one, the coordinate or bicycle parts company. Oops. And for this, we're going to go ahead and pay them during our standard way of just using a check. And just to kind of give us an indication of, what the check's going to be or how to identify it, we're just going to say it's demo. Save it real quick. And once we click save, all the vouchers that have been posted are going to go ahead and populate here. Now, we could pay multiple vouchers at the same time if that's what we so choose on this check, but we're only interested in paying for the voucher, DP, or for the voucher 505, which is tagged to your PO of DP 353. Notice that it automatically is telling us how much we should pay right now instead of that 906 because we are in that 10-day window where we get the discount of 18 cents. So we'll go ahead and click apply. One payment distribution was created. Great. Then the last thing we need to do is go ahead and post the payment. Like I said, we're going to use a standard check. And then in the way that I know this is the one we were working with just before is because we put in that note that this is for the demo. So we're going to go ahead and do that payment generation. Actually, I apologize. We're going to do a check printing. And on this, we're going to go ahead and select the vendor. We're going to print the check. The check number was automatically put up there for the amount of $8.88. Printer AP check. Check its stubs. Final register and post. So that means that we just went ahead and did our AP payment for $8.88 on that check. So notice that this is saying it no longer exists because that's just because we posted it. And if we go to our AR quick payments and refresh, all that information is going to be taken out because we just went ahead and posted it as well. So in that case, you can't go back to other check numbers and fudge with the numbers. It's been posted, it's hitting the GL, and it's good to go. So let's kind of tie up and talk about what we just did. We went ahead and manually created that purchase order for that end product of the CP10000. Went ahead and received the product to our main warehouse, created a voucher, looked at the landed costs. We didn't put any in there, didn't adjust any of the discounts or any of the costs associated, posted our voucher, and then very quickly we went ahead and processed the payment to hit our AP distribution journal. So to tie it all up, let's take a look at our procurement homepage. Just to give you an idea of what a buyer would be typically working with on a daily basis. I apologize. Let's try this one more time. So from the buyer perspective, they're going to be working off this homepage most of their time. They'll have information about on-time receipts, as seen here. Key metrics today about what's open for your payables, what are late shipments, so you can drill down into see which things need to be received, or maybe calling the vendors to get an update on when their product's going to be going to the warehouse, and then all the forms that we pretty much went through today to go ahead and manage their day-to-day activities. So we took a look at the items, vendors, purchase orders. We talked about requisitions, about how employees can go ahead and use our Mingle app. Or if you're in the buyer perspective, you can put in purchase order requisitions and also review them. And then ultimately for the activities, converting PO requisitions into a PO, that's something you can easily do. PO receiving list to understand what shipments came in today, so on and so forth. They'll have different tabs up here, navigator, tasks, flow, critical numbers. Like once again, they're just going to go help them with their day-to-day activities and manage, their job description role. So with that, we've kind of tied together everything in the procure to pay process. Hope you enjoyed this presentation and have a great day. Thanks.